Hey gang, you all okay? Thanks very much for sorting everything out. It's a good job I spotted it earlier. Yeah, um, it was interesting. It was very interesting. I'd only seen the scene that you showed me, so I just assumed that it was the same as mine. Wow. We will see. Um, I'm working on a single screen is a bit of a nightmare. Oh, wow. What a nightmare start. I've got about 3 minutes. Hopefully, we are all good to go. If you are in chat and are interested in taking part, welcome. A couple of minutes till we actually go live, and then I'll mention what all of this is about. But if you are in chat now and are interested in shouting up, shout up. Boom, boom. We are about to play a very experimental game set in the world of darkness. The mechanics are different. Um, we've tweaked them a little bit to ensure that the choose your own adventure thing works for multiple people. Um, but we are interested in potentially doing a actual live play of Vampire the Masquerade at some point as well with the actual rules. Should be good. We've got a minute to go. If you do just want to lurk, you are more than welcome. On top of that, um, there will be choices to be made, so you can we'll put polls up and you can vote to sort of see what actions our vampire fledgling is going to take. Okay, so we're going to switch across to our scene. Some of you might have seen this, but it's quite a big reveal for everybody. So let us switch across to that first of all. Hopefully everybody can see that. Hey there, Misfits. Welcome to the game. So what we'll basically be doing, yeah, it certainly is. I'm going to do a couple of shout outs and go through some of the mechanics quickly whilst we're waiting for people to jump into the stream itself. Hey Nightshades, thanks for hanging out. Yes, as Brooks has said, big shout out to both Marmalade and Finley for putting this scene together. We had a few instances of getting the schools working, and Finn managed to pull it all together in the last minute to get it looking. So it looks good. There's more detail here than you possibly will see directly. And look at that, Marmalade has also subscribed. Thank you, Marmalade. Really appreciate it. So looking at the scene itself, it's got the Malkavian kind of symbols. It's got the name. But if you look at the picture as well, cheers Nightshades, thanks for the resub as well. Really appreciate it. It helps the stream out, no end. I do like to feel good with Twitch. But just saying a big thanks to you and Finley and Brooks for helping pull all of this together. So the actual picture, for those of you who are not from Nottingham, is Market Square, because this is most definitely Nottingham by night. It is going to be set in Nottingham unless the collective consciousness of our fledgling vampire is going to take us elsewhere. But we're going to start here anyway. Mechanically, it's going to play very similar to the Cyberpunk game that hopefully you've managed to sort of see, that we did a week last Wednesday, and we're going to do chapter 2 tomorrow. Hey Providence, thanks for hanging out with us. So without further ado, I'm going to do the intro first, and then we will move on to the game itself. Yep, I'm going to go through that in 1 second, Nightshades. So, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for supporting us and playing tonight. I'm going to say this again, in case new people have jumped in. A very big thank you to both Marmalade and Finley for sorting out this scene, for helping mod. That is something that I do need to do, is put you as a mod as well, Marmalade, in this. But without your help, it'd just be my ugly face on the screen, and this is just beautiful. So thank you very much for everything that you have done. The concept is that we're going to be playing a single character. It's going to be a vampire from the World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade setting. It is going to be a Malkavian. We have already decided that. We thought it's a nice concept that with so many people voting upon the consciousness and the actions of the character, it just felt very Malkavian in design. So it suits the narrative. So we're controlling a single character that is community controlled, i.e. via you. We're going to be doing polls. The polls will be some decisions that you will vote on, and the way that the voting goes will determine the actions. Some roles, some decisions, some actions are automatic. Some won't be automatic. These are active actions, and they will need to roll for them. This is where the skulls come in. I can play with the skulls here. So you see that the skulls can be, if I can click on it, faded out like so. Oops. Sometimes it needs a double click. Excuse my tech, I can't even press a button. When the final skull is faded out, it is at this point that our character, our fledgling, has met their final death. It is definitely 10 Candles-esque. Seems to work very well for for this kind of format of the game. Now, when we're at more skulls, our fledgling is stronger and has the greater chance of success. Mechanically speaking, each skull represents a maximum dice pool of d6s. So when we're on skull number 1 of 10, so we have all 10 skulls, we have 10 d6s to roll, and all we're looking at is gaining 1 success for the action to be successful. It is based on the 10 candles system, and it is an awesome game that works very well as a horror setting. I would recommend you looking it up because it is very, very good. If you do roll any ones though, those dice are removed from the pool. So slowly over time, your pool of 10 dice will go down to 0 basically. If you roll, if you don't roll a 6 though, it counts as a failure, and it is at that point that we fade out a skull bump like that. So we then reset everything and it goes up to a dice pool of 9, and so on and so on. So it's quite difficult initially to fail, but over time the failures will come. Now you can regain dice pools, you can regain skulls, and you might need a certain number of successes in an action to gain a full success. So for instance, if you are combating something that is much stronger than you, you might need 3 successes before you get a fail. So you could indeed not get a 6 on this, not get a 6 on this, and not get a 6 on this, and end up with losing 3 skulls in a single action. So we need to be careful about it. Gaining equipment, feeding is something very important to obviously a vampire will gain skulls, but we're also writing in that loss of humanity, if you do something that we consider to be driving you towards the beast, as they would call it, you might automatically just lose a skull. And likewise, if there is a masquerade violation, you might well lose a skull as well. So do not get overconfident. It can be quite easy and quite rapidly to get down towards that final death. Supporting the stream. If you do like what we're doing, please support us. Please support us. Do this a number of ways. On social media, just sharing the posts that we put on is one way. You can do it financially by sort of subscribing. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's free to do. What you need to do is, you might have subscribed before, but it does need to be resubscribed every month. It doesn't refresh normally. We've also got mechanically down here a way that you can gain re-rolls and various other things in the game as well by donating to the stream. £1 will get someone a re-roll, so you can start sort of donating pounds now, and we've got a mechanic that will note down how many re-rolls people have got. £5 will regain a skull, and then we've got a very special one of £10 which allows you to tell a truth. Brooks did this in the Cyberpunk game last session, and it's something that you put uniquely into the game that can change the direction of the way that the story is going. So that is very powerful. Um, the character itself is going to be uh, sort of gender neutral, and I mean that we're going to let you as individuals decide on whether the character is male, female, or a different gender completely. We're leaving this completely open. So it'll be really interesting to see how uh, you view the character, what your visions of this character are. So in social, on Discord, um, drop us information about the ideas that you've got and the things that you like. As the fledgling grows in strength and powers, you'll also be able to have input to disciplines and the like. So I think that is everything I need to say. Um, as well as voting, there will be a degree of role playing. So we might be asking questions in chat. So you might be able to put some ideas in chat about the kind of things you want to do as well. So without further ado, let us try very much to tell a vampire story. So you don't fully remember how it happened. Um, you remember drinking. You remember a club, Rock City, centre of Nottingham, and then waking up slumped back against one of those big wheelie bins. Almost called it a dumpster, but we're in Nottingham. It is a big green wheelie bin. You were so hungry, so hungry, and you were changed. Your senses, you could hear in the dumpster the bum, 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 bum heartbeat of a rat, and you knew you had to feed. You leapt into the bin and you tore the thing apart. You were starving and revolted in equal measure. That was the start. You sought answers. It wasn't be long before they found you. You were taken out to Nottingham East to a chop shop, a garage of sorts, introduced to a Baron Lucas Griffith, who was not happy about what had happened. In fact, you could sense his anger. You confused, didn't understand the words being bandied around like anarch and if only we were the ivory tower, things would have turned out differently for you. Things confusing, and then the voices in your head, the pain. It began to become explained to you that your life was over. You were dead. But it seemed the Baron was a person of at least some kind of importance and did not have the patience or perhaps the time to fully explain. It could have ended worse, could have ended much worse. You could have been as they called it, put to the final death. Maybe that was something that might have been better. But no, the Baron, maybe being merciful or for some other agenda, moved you to what he called a safe place, a place out, still within his barony, still within a Nottingham East, out towards a place that most of you would know quite well, Burton Joyce or Bingley. Somewhat rural, but only within 20 minutes of the city itself. There was an individual who runs a sanctum, that's what they called it. Something called the Whisper Bloom Sanctum. This individual, like you, is a vampire. No, you can't call them vampires. The voices in your head say, no, that is rude. Kindred, that is the name they like to use. Kindred. The person running this Whisper Bloom Sanctum goes by the name Reverend Obadiah Trelease. They say that he is of your clan, but that makes no sense to you either. And in the dead of night, for going out in the day, supposedly is going to lead you to one place and one place only, which is your final death. You were moved there, and there is where you begin to find some real answers. So, Kindred, you have been moved out to this Whisper Bloom Sanctum. Reverend Obadiah Trelease kind of runs this place, most definitely for Kindred, sternly. It is a place where waifs and strays are brought to give a very strict final chance, to prove that they can fit and work within Kindred society, within the rules of particularly Nottingham East, but within Nottingham itself. You are told that Nottingham is split, as the name might suggest, into 4 areas: north, south, east and west. This reverend, this Whisper Bloom Sanctum, a safe place for troubled minds, that's what they say. And you are not alone here. On your first evening, which is now, you are introduced to 4 individuals. Someone calling themselves Moth, someone calling themselves Marshmallow, someone calling themselves Smokes, and someone calling themselves Catnip. It seems that you are all sharing the same dormitory within this sanctum. There are other staff here, but they get on with their work and more or less ignore the other inmates. Sorry, voices. Did the voices say inmates or was it guests? Inmates, guests. Are they? They're different, aren't they? So you find the place that you are now going to put your head down during the day and get a good day's sleep. But who is it that you want to start asking questions of? At the moment, you have very much been left to yourselves. You have your 4 other guests, let us call them that. So Excuse me while I type. Oh. Okay, so the first poll comes up. As I say, you should see it at the top of the chat. This is going to determine, it is the first poll. This isn't you have a chance to potentially question other people at the same time. Whilst we are voting. So get involved, vote. These are decisions. The idea of this is it is going to be a campaign game. We're looking at 4 episodes initially, but if it becomes viable, then we'll run more if people love it. The other nice thing is that it is set in our tabletop game world as well. So if you go to our Facebook group, you can see that all the details there. Yeah, as people have said in chat, everybody can vote even if you are lurking. Don't want to get involved, that's fine. If you're enjoying the story, let us know. So interesting. Marshmallow. Marshmallow is quite a large chap. He has an ill-fitting t-shirt. His stomach is overhanging his belt. He's wearing dirty sort of jeans. On his t-shirt there is a logo. The logo, it's of some kind of obscure anime. You're not even sure you sort of recognize it. He's got a degree of stubble, and you have heard that you don't grow hair anymore, so he must have had this before he was turned. No, embraced. That's it. You need to remember that they don't like it when you get the words wrong. So you go across to him. He's busy packing away some personal effects and looks up at you, kind of gives you a smile. So, how you doing? Yeah. Name's Marshmallow. That's what people used to call me anyway. I mean, my real name. I'm not sure if we can use real names. I mean, does it? Do you know? Can we use real names? I mean, we've not been told that we can't. I mean, my name is Caleb. Caleb, yes, Caleb Webb. I've been here a few days, and yeah, I mean, it seems to be okay. They haven't really started telling us much as yet. Um, I think we have some conversations in the chat, which is going to determine how you behave. So let us do a new poll. Okay, so let us start a poll. I do like interaction in the chat, and that might well absolutely. You are the voices in this fledgling's head. So feel free to vote. So we do have some choices in there. You can have a look at the current poll, which is great. You can see that Stroke the Stubble is game 56. Stroke the Stubble. Wow, 50-50. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm just reading this. The madness is indeed winning. As the voices in your head, you begin to reach out your finger. He kind of looks at you strangely as you begin to try and stroke it. It's a relatively simple action to do, but I think it's important that we see how he reacts to it, this marshmallow, this Caleb Webb. So, as Misfit prompted all of this madness, can you give us a roll, please, to see how he reacts, not whether you're successful? I believe what you have to do is exclamation mark roll, as in ROLL, to see what happens, see how he reacts to it. Okay, so you have succeeded, which is good, but you have reduced the dice pool by 1 dice. You kind of reach out, and he at first kind of recoils a little bit from you, and then he kind of relaxes a bit. He looks at you and goes, "Yeah, I know." He kind of strokes it as well. I kind of thought I perhaps should get rid of it, but I've been told it's not going to grow anymore. But it's my comfort. I like it. That and marshmallows. It's how I got my name. I am I'm addicted to them, and I can't eat them anymore. I can't. And there's a tear that begins to well up in his eyes. As it wells up, though, you see that they are not like normal tears. They are blood. It seems that he has been recently turned as well and is out of just himself. He doesn't know what to do. He leans forward as you hug him and he says, uh, uh, have you like fed? Have you done that yet? I find it really difficult. It's very strange. They said they're going to teach us a lot here, but uh, okay. You begin to extend your tongue, and the voices are tempting you to do things that not one would say socially acceptable. So mm, so this is our poll. Oh, okay. Okay, it seems that very much that the word lick is not something that you can put in the polls. So we have put L instead. Yep, safety things, which is fine, Damn bots again. So we have some interesting ones here. We have a few more seconds. It seems that we have normality descending upon you as you want to find out how he got here. This could change any minute. We have more and more people voting now. Oh. So ask him how he got here. Holding back though is difficult as you kind of go in and you smell the blood. Oh, it's not called blood. These voices in my head, they are vitae. You smell the vitae. And need someone else in chat now to give us another role. Indeed, it is called vitae. This is to see if you can resist. So, Nightshade, you wanted to do it, or Crimble wanted to do it as well. Plenty more time for rolling, but boom, 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 boom. Okay, Nightshades, you do it. This is to hold on to your it is a failure. Wow, that is a disaster. So, this represents as you lean in and are tempted to lick the blood. You hold on to your humanity as much as you can and pull back and resist the voices telling you that it is not normal and you need to find out about what and where you are here. But the strain upon you takes its toll as you hold back that temptation and ask the question, how? Marshmallow, Caleb, what do you prefer? How did you get here? He says it was strange. It was. I have little memory over what happened. Um, I was turned. You snap and shout the word embraced, as you are a good kindred and you will learn the words. Sorry, embraced. I was embraced. It doesn't feel like I was embraced though. They took who I was from me and uh, dumped me in an alley. I was found by some others. I was taken to see a woman. This was in South Nottingham. It didn't make sense. She said she was a baron, but I mean, women be barons? Uh, I don't know. I don't understand. Anyway, she sent me here, and I've been here a couple of days. Um, I know nothing else. Um, I mean, are we going to die? I mean, wait, we're dead. We are dead. Um, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't like this. Don't like this at all. So, um, with that conversation coming to an end, you see that there are two other people in this dorm. There is a rather hyper looking young woman who you have learnt is named Catnip, and she is in every way, apart from her hyperactivity, what you would say average. Um, you wouldn't look twice at her, and you kind of look and you realize that it's something strange about her. She isn't average as you check out the details. You see things, but there's something about her, an aura or just a feeling that is almost playing with your head, almost almost as if some supernatural power is upon you to make you ignore her. The other, um, you're not sure. Could be male, could be female. Difficult to tell. Lean, very lean. Uh, Biker jacket. Longish hair down to the shoulder on one side, heavily shaved on the other. A little bit of ink. A little bit of ink again must have been done before they were, let me get it right, embraced. Yes, and true to her name, sitting on the windowsill, smoking a cigarette. This must be Smokes. Is it worth speaking to either of those two? Maybe. Let us find out as we move to the pull again. Boom, 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 boom. Loving the things in the chat. You can always throw ideas about the kind of things that you want to do. Okay, let us go. This is our next poll. It's definitely night time at the moment. You notice that the windows that Smoke is sitting at is heavily blacked out. It is slightly ajar as she's flicking the ash through it. It's most definitely night time. So feel free if you're in chat to give us a vote. And as a quick reminder, we're doing something very similar tomorrow night, but it is a cyberpunk setting. Investigate the room. Lots of people want to have a look around. Absolutely. Okay. Well, this is an active action. So we need someone. I think Crimbo, you asked to do that. So give us a roll. Exclamation mark roll. And let us see if you can find something. A success. At quite a heavy cost though, 3 ones, reducing the dice pool down to this. You do investigate the room and you do investigate it successfully. At first, it is very much a dorm room. There is a bed, if you can call it that, for each of you. The windows are heavily blacked out, but they are most definitely windows. You are potentially in danger if the blackout would come off. It looks fairly secure though. It does. It's one of the first things that everybody told you is sunlight it will send you to the final death. No ifs, no buts. That is it. You seem to have a sort of bedside table that has a small area for some personal effects that you can put there. At the bottom of the bed is a chest and ottoman. You do have a wardrobe as well. Uh, but there is something strange. You didn't realize it. You didn't notice it. Perhaps because you're a fledgling. Perhaps because you have been recently been turned. Perhaps because you are not at peace or truly understanding about you being a kindred. Something that would stand out straight away to maybe a more experienced kindred. But for you, it took that success to notice it. There is on the wall a mirror. A mirror. Why? Why the mirror? You go and you look. There's no reflection. No reflection. Why a mirror then? Why a mirror in this room? Has it just been left here? Part of the old decoration. Let us have a look. I think it is time for another poll. Let the voices speak. because you asked for it in chat, and hey, this is what we are all about. It is your game, not mine. It is your game, not mine. Remember, everybody in chat can do this. As the voices in your head combat. Well, there we go. Again, a degree. I have faith in you as a community, but it is really fun watching the polls tick by. Okay, so someone, one of you, has decided to investigate the mirror. Someone who has offered investigating the mirror needs to give me a roll, please. Yep, give us a roll to investigate the mirror. Boo, boop, van doop. Success, 2 successes. Dice pool has dropped. Very good. Yeah, this is very strange. The mirror itself is sealed to the wall quite strongly. There appears to be sort of mastic down the sides. It's not just hung, it is actually sealed. And it is at this point, with the success of your investigation, you stare into the mirror. And as you stare into the mirror, yes, the mirror is double-sided. You do not know if you are tapping into your kindred newfound abilities, whether you have some kind of heightened senses or some other unknown power. But you can kind of see shadows beyond the mirror. This is double-sided. This is one way. You think you are being observed. Or are you? Maybe it's just paranoia. Sometimes it's difficult to tell. Indeed. So, with that investigation, you have choices to make. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that's better. Sorry. There's only a limited number of words. Oh. Thank you for following Small Fry. Really appreciate it. Hope you are enjoying this. The plan is to do this for at least the whole of June, every Friday night, and everybody can get involved. But yeah, really appreciate all of the support. The poll is ticking down. More voices indeed. Thank you, Finn, for bringing Small Fry into our community. I really appreciate it. Okay, check for reflections. Okay, this is a simple action. So simple actions are not requiring rolls, but you position yourselves and you look around. You can't see Marshmallow in the reflection. You can't see Catnip in the reflection. You can't see Smokes in the reflection as well. So it appears that they all appear to be similar to you. Now, it might be a special kind of mirror. It might be the fact that you are kindred. It might mean something else. You think that Marshmallow was being genuine when you had a conversation with him. But there is something strange about this mirror, and you know, having succeeded on staring into the mirror, that it's definitely a two-way mirror. Why someone wants to spy on you, you are not sure. Maybe it's because you are all new. Maybe it's because they don't trust you. Maybe there's no one behind there. Maybe it's all in your mind. Maybe you're safe here. I mean, why would they have brought you all together? They could have perhaps gave you that final death. Maybe it's just the voices in your head that are playing with you. You begin to calm down. You begin to look around. There is nothing else within the room itself that is strange. There is an exit. You know where that leads. It leads to a landing. You are upstairs. You can head down the stairs. You are supposedly, though, supposed to stay here until you hear the gong, as they call it. It is the sound to draw people down to a meeting. Do, 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 do. Yeah, you have been very recently turned. I accidentally missed out Moth as well. Moth is another person that is in there. He is not he's not doesn't have his reflection in the mirror either. Moth is a male, maybe maybe late teens, early 20s. He has um, he's quite skinny, a hoodie on. Um, so there is him as well. So, what do you want to do? I did forget about Moth for the moment. I've gave you descriptions of the others. I will try and do a little bit of a write-up for chapter 2, which we'll put maybe in Discord, maybe in on the Facebook group. All of this is canon, by the way, in the Nottingham by Night tabletop game as well. So those of you playing that, you become aware of this place. So here we go. Okay, so what kind of things? Throw some conversation into the chat about the kind of things you want to ask her. You move up to her. She seems to be almost hyperactive. She's twitching, and as you speak to her, she's almost startled, almost as if she wasn't. Catnip does not have the tattoos. It is Smokes that has the tattoos, just so you know. She twitches, surprised that you've noticed her. She looks at you and, oh, sorry, yeah, tattoos. I haven't got any tattoos. I think you might mean Smokes, or they they're, they're badass. They are really badass. Um, so, what is it that brings you here? Oh, me, my name. Um, uh, I mean, Catnip is a name that I uh, I had a bit of a problem. I kind of did some stuff before all of this happened, and well, my friends used to say it was like catnip to me, and it used to send me all a bit, helter skelter. It kind of stuck really. I mean, everybody here seems to be using cool names, and I kind of, I said that's my name. My real name is. I mean, can we use real names? I'm Leah Martin, and yeah, I'm good. Um, I'm good. Um, what what do you mean we're being watched? We need to escape. Uh, I thought they've put us here uh, because we are safe here. You think we're not safe? Well, we should speak to Smokes. Smokes is badass. Moth doesn't really say anything. Mind you, no one's really said anything to me. Everybody seems to have ignored me. Um, um, I mean, you think we should leave, really? Okay, at this point, Are you really going to press that? So do you so we have a poll. Are you going to tell her to leave, potentially putting her in danger? Are you going to talk to Smokes? You're going to talk to Moth, or are you just going to wait for the gong to happen? One would presume, Finley, that the gong is going to be loud enough for people to hear. Do, 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 do. We should get some music for this stream. That would be awesome. We need to look into that. Countdown music, some of the music. Okay, talk to Smokes. So, acting on Catnip's or Leah's, depending on how you want to talk or call her. You move across, you see that Smokes is again sitting. Yeah, cheers for joining us, Vancouver. Really appreciate it. This is the first one. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this every Friday night from 10:30 to midnight. For as long as people want to do it, basically. So please, 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 yeah, add it to your list. I really appreciate it. More people we can get doing this, the better. I hope you're enjoying it at the moment, and very much welcome. Oop. Cheers for the follow as well. We really appreciate it. So, dragging, drawing Catnip across to that's GMT, British Standard Time. Yeah, cheers. Cheers for answering the questions in chat as well. So you draw Catnip across to Smokes. Smokes looking every bit the badass that Catnip has described them as. As I say, skinny. Not sure whether they are male or female. Not that that should really matter. Shaved head on one side, shoulder length hair draping down the other. Smoking. Obviously, doesn't take much of a sign to see that they're not gaining any real sort of pleasure out of it. Why should they? Well, they're dead. They are embraced. They are kindred. You begin to talk, and they don't even look at you. They flick the ash out of the window. You begin to ask questions. And what kind of questions do you want to ask her? Throw some things out into the chat. While you are throwing some questions out into the chat, Martian, this is um, technically 5th ed, the latest one, but system-wise we're using our own system because it needs to be choose your own adventure. But we're drawing heavily on the lore of World of Darkness and the current setting. The setting itself is our tabletop setting for our Vampire the Masquerade Nottingham by Night tabletop game. So it's a bit of a sort of tangle of ideas all coming together. Passionate about the setting of World of Darkness, but we needed to use a system that can work for multiple people in the community. So that is why we are doing this. Okay, so we've had a few questions that are in game. They don't look at you as they begin to sort of answer some of them. Very funny. Strawberry Sunday. Is that a euphemism? Huh? Is that what you mean? Blood. That's what I know it as. Blood. They call it something different. Vitae. But blood's blood. Oh, right. You're not feeding from me. Kind of begins to turn as you ask for some vitae. There is a grimace. Why do I smoke? Habit. She stubs it out. They stub it out. They stub it out. I'm not called Smokes because I smoke. If that's what you mean. I like smoke. And where there's smoke, there is fire. And I like fire too. I might have been responsible for maybe a bit of damage here and there before all of this bullshit has happened. And now, fire. In my head, I like it. In my head, it's bright, it's warm, it's beautiful. But I'm also terrified of it. This is what they have done to me. This is what they have done to me. This is bullshit. They look back out of the window, and as they look out of the window, they say, "You see that? I saw something in the grounds. Something out there." So, what do you do? Boom, 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 boom. I need to work out because the polls have got a limited number. So we have this going. Yeah, it's quite challenging sometimes. So what is going on? Yeah, that's the whole point. Vancouver is that it is interactive. Everybody in chat is the voices in the head. That's why we're not really using the Vampire the Masquerade rules, but it makes it very inclusive to everybody. Um, there is a chat function uh, on Streamlabs. Um, so it's a combination of role playing, uh, Vampire the Masquerade, lore, um, and the like, really. Look out the window. Do you really want to look out the window? It seems that you do. This, though, is going to require an active role. So we do need someone who voted for looking out the window to give us a role, please. Who voted for looking out the window and who wants to give us a role? Oh dear. Providence. Providence, you have rolled and failed. So with that, we remove another skull. The dice is now set to a pool of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not a failure of doing that. Yep, I can count to 8. 2 from 10 is 8. I've had a very long day, Marmalade. Very long day. Okay, you look out the window. And you look and you stare. There's nothing there. Obviously, they, Smokes, just trying to spook you. Just trying to trick you. Probably if you leant out far too far, they probably would have tried to push you out. There's nothing out there. You're safe. This is the place that the Barons have put you, so you can learn and you can be safe. There's nothing to worry about. You calm down. If you had a beating heart, it would have slowed right down. But as you do not, your heart does not beat at all. So, with that, you have a couple of options left to you. Boom, 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 boom. So, well, I mean, you might have the time, you might not. It looks like people are keen to talk to Moth, but we'll see. The still can swing. We've got 18 viewers. Only 10 people have voted at the moment. It is counting down and boom. Talk to Moth. Okay. The 5 of you in this room, you spoke to sort of 3 of them. They are getting about, unpacking and stuff. Yeah, what is wrong with you indeed? They are settling in. Maybe the problem is you. Maybe the problem is that you just are so nosy that you have to put your nose in everybody else's business. Maybe the problem isn't with them. Maybe the problem is with you. You always thought this. You always want to. No, maybe you are friendly and witty. Yeah. Or are you a busybody? It's difficult to know. So many voices. With all these questions springing through your head, you head to the only other person here. As you approach, um, you think that tall, gaunt, sort of thin, wiry, hoodie up. You begin to get the measure of him though as you begin to sort of look him over. You notice that whilst he's trying to dress down, the trainers he's wearing are expensive. The jeans are designer. So's the hoodie. He has money or comes from money, even though he's trying to look so street. He looks up at you, smiles. So, you're here too, I guess. You're here too. What's your story? You say, well, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. What is your story first? And he begins to talk. He tells you that he does and came from quite a good home, but his real passion is art, graffiti. He fell in with not so much a bad crowd, but a gang, and the reason why they call him Moth is how he tagged stuff, MOF, his initials, Moth. If you want to hang around with a number of people in St. Anne's, you don't want to be known by your true name if it is Maximilian Oscar Francis. He said that he would be easily, at best, ignored, at the worst, stabbed, shivved up, left to die in the street. And come to mention it, that is what exactly had happened. That, yes, he was out late. He was doing some of his art, doing his tag. That is the last thing that he remembers until he awoken with the hunger, the beast, as they call it, in his head, demanding. And I couldn't help myself. I couldn't. I mean, what was your first? A rat? If only. No, I couldn't help myself. Hmm, I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about it. He does speak with a posh accent, as much as he throws in words like in it and blood. He comes from a good school, a good education, At the very best, he's a wannabe street kid. At the very worst, he's just a fake. So, is there anything else you want to ask him before we move on to the final poll of the night? He says, "You wanna you wanna bite me? What kind of animal are you?" He says, "No, not blood. Blood, as in blood, as in with family, fam. Don't you get it? God, why am I here with you? Look at you all. I've got an arsonist, someone on drugs, whatever you are, and we've got what? The guy that's crying over not being able to eat marshmallows anymore. This is a living nightmare, not because of what I am, but because I have to spend time with all of you." He does not sound best pleased. So, conversations had. People met. This is maybe going to be your new family. Maybe. So, you wait together, a group of misfits, individual, different walks of life, brought together, bound in vitae, in the embrace, ready to begin to learn a totally new way of life. Time passes, and yes, indeed, at that witching hour at midnight, the gong does indeed sound. You all look at each other with no better choices. You begin to head down the stairs. There is something that you remember, something that you learnt at school, something that hadn't occurred to you now. It was about a dog and a gong and training, conditioning. Are they really conditioning you? One final poll. Final poll for the night. What are we doing? It seems like this is going to be the perfect end to this session. People are voting. Feel free if you are in chat to vote. And boom, there we go. You are voted to slide down the banister. You weigh up your options, go to the meeting, stay in the room, but no, the banister itself calls to you. You leap up and you slide down. I'm not sure, Marmalade, whether it should. It's a good question to ask. It shouldn't do. It should just be a thing there. We'll get Finley to have a quick look at that in a second for you. So we'll sort that out in a minute, but I appreciate you thinking about donating. So this is where we will leave chapter 1. We'll do a little bit of a downtime sort of talk now. Thank you very much for taking part. We are going to do this for the next few weeks. It will be a it's very role play orientated at the moment. I wanted to establish a cast of people that you have been drawn together with. There was a few sort of hints of what might be going on with the mirror and maybe something outside. So we will very much see what happens next week, starting at 10:30 and going through to midnight as well. So thank you very much for joining us. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Spread the word. It's designed for as many people as possible. So some interesting NPCs that you have met. You have to meet the Reverend, which we will start on next session on chapter 2. Once again, a massive thank you to Marmalade and to Finley and to Brooks for helping with the scene. Thank you very much, Brooks, for the tip. I really appreciate that. It all helps going to do this, and thank you very much for that as well. Finley, it helps support the stream, make sure that these do continue to go, so we do very much appreciate that. So tomorrow night, quick plug is that we'll be doing a similar sort of thing but in a cyberpunk setting. So if you're free tomorrow night from 10:30 British Standard Time, we'll be doing that. Thank you very much as well for that. I really appreciate it. We will use these in future. I'll make a note of it for rerolls and for truths and everything else. I don't think there's much more else to say. Thank you very, very much for taking part. Obviously, we couldn't do it without you all doing it. So big love to everybody. Take care. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night. If not, hopefully we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. See you later.